The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Zixthor's translator crackled to life. The insectoid diplomat's mandibles clicked nervously as he addressed the human delegation. "We must understand," Zixthor began, his compound eyes reflecting the chamber's bioluminescent walls, "why your species continues to volunteer for deep space anomaly research. Every civilization in the galaxy has lost countless lives to these phenomena. Surely, humans fear death as we all do." Grace Chun, the human historian assigned to the delegation, exchanged a knowing glance with her partner, Liam Torres. The former military analyst suppressed a grin as Grace stood, her tablet glowing with centuries of archived human behavior. "Ambassador," Grace said, her voice steady and professional, "humanity does fear death. We're quite aware of our mortality. However, we have a cultural quirk that somewhat overrides that fear in certain circumstances." The council members leaned forward, their various appendages, sensors, and sensory organs focused intently on the human. "We call it," Grace continued, pulling up her first holographic display, "the hold my beer phenomenon." Confusion rippled through the chamber. The translation matrices struggled with the colloquialism, producing bizarre interpretations in dozens of languages. Liam activated the chamber's main display screen, showing footage from Earth's ancient archives. "Let us provide context," he said. The first video showed a human male in primitive clothing, standing atop a waterfall. Another human stood beside him, holding what appeared to be a beverage container. The standing human spoke. The subtitle read, "Hold my beer," before launching himself off the cliff into the churning water below. "This footage is from Earth year 2019, Grace explained. "The individual survived with minor injuries. Note that he had no logical reason to jump, no emergency requiring such action, and no prior training in high-altitude water entry." Ambassador Zixthor's translator emitted a sound approximating confusion. "But why?" "Because it seemed like a good idea at the time," Liam replied flatly. The next series of holograms showed increasingly absurd scenarios. Humans riding wheeled boards down staircases, humans attaching rockets to chairs, humans wrestling Earth's apex predators, humans eating substances that could burn through metal, humans building flying machines in their dwelling garages. Grace walked through the display, her hands gesturing to each example. Throughout human history, whenever someone has said you can't do that, or that's impossible, or even that will definitely kill you, a significant percentage of our population has responded with what we call challenge acceptance. A crystalline delegate named Sharna chimed in, her voice resonating like bells. "But this is irrational. Your species has produced brilliant scientists, artists, and philosophers. You've mastered faster than light travel. Surely these are isolated cases of mental illness." "That's what we thought too," Liam said, pulling up a new dataset. "Until we ran the numbers. Approximately 67% of major human innovations came from someone attempting something they were explicitly told was impossible or suicidal." He highlighted specific entries. The Wright brothers were told heavier-than-air flight violated physics. Marie Curie died from radiation exposure while proving radioactivity existed. Yuri Gagarin volunteered to be strapped to a rocket with a 50-50 chance of explosion. Mira Chun, the inventor of our current FTL drive, literally said, "Hold my coffee," before activating the first prototype, which could have torn a hole in space-time. Grace picked up the narrative thread. "When humanity first encountered the void anomalies, every species in the galaxy told us the same thing. Anything that enters never returns. Information cannot escape. It is the end of existence." She smiled, and several alien delegates felt an instinctive chill at the expression. "And do you know what happened?" Grace asked. 347 humans immediately volunteered to go in. Not because they were suicidal, not because they didn't understand the danger, but because someone said it was impossible to return. Zixthor's mandibles clacked rapidly. "This is disturbing." "It gets better," Liam interjected. "Of those 347 volunteers, we sent in the first probe with Lieutenant Sarah Kim. Her last transmission before entering the anomaly was, and I quote, 'Hold my beer. I'm going in.' She died." Sharana's crystalline form dimmed with sympathy. "No," Grace said, her smile widening. "She came back. With data, which led to our current understanding of subspace mechanics and our ability to navigate previously impossible regions of space. The council chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien exclamations, translations overlapping into chaos. Grace raised her hand, and the room gradually quieted. Ambassador Zixthor, you asked why humans continue volunteering for dangerous research. The answer is simple. Because someone said we couldn't. Because it's never been done. Because the risk is precisely what makes it interesting. Liam added, our fear of death doesn't paralyze us, it motivates us. Every hold my beer moment is humanity looking at the universe and saying, I bet I can survive that. And more importantly, Grace concluded, we usually do. Not always. We've lost brave people to our curiosity. But each loss teaches us, and each success pushes our boundaries further. While other species see an impassable barrier and turn back, humans see a challenge and start planning. Zixthor was silent for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. Your species is insane. Yes, Grace and Liam replied in perfect unison. But, Zixthor continued, his tone shifting to something resembling respect. You are also the reason we now understand 40% more of the galaxy than we did before humanity joined the Council. Grace nodded. We prefer to think of it as aggressively optimistic rather than insane. As the Council session concluded, Sharona approached the human delegation privately. I have a question, she chimed softly. When your species encounters something truly impossible, something that no amount of human stubbornness can overcome, what then? Liam and Grace exchanged another look, this time with matching grins. Then, Grace said, we find a bigger beer to hold.